We got this, man. We got this by the ass. Alright guys, welcome back to Days of Darkness and welcome to my review of Dawn of the Dead. This one came out in 1978, starring Ken Foree, David Emge, and Galen Ross, and was directed by the legend Mr. George Romero. I could not think of a better way to cap off CoronaMania 2 than with easily one of the best horror movies of all time. Did not say zombie movies, I said horror movies. As far as zombie movies are concerned, yes, this is one of the greatest zombie movies of all time. But I consider it to be just a genre-wide best. I mean, this movie is fucking great, dude. I've gone on record when I reviewed it in CoronaMania 1 and multiple other times that Day of the Dead is my personal favorite zombie film of all time. And I have my reasons for that. But I cannot discount Dawn of the Dead, dude. This movie fucking rules. It's, at the core of this movie, it's a survivalist movie, you know? The characters in this, to me, are so investing. Not because there's not a boatload of exposition done on them. There's not a whole ton divulged about them. I mean, you get certain things, which I will not disclose in the movie. It's in the spoiler-free section for obvious reasons. But the things you do learn about them, it makes you invest more in those characters emotionally. So when, inevitably, this isn't a spoiler, it's a fucking horror movie, when some of them die, it weighs on you a little bit. Especially one death, or well, really both of them are sad, but anyways. But yeah, man. One other thing that benefits this movie, and I think, and benefits the characters especially, and some people would bitch about this, but to me, I see it as a plus. You know, I went back and before I watch these movies, obviously, if I have something else to do in the day, I'll look at the runtime just to see if I need to plan around it and stuff, and typically I do. But I saw the I saw the runtime of the particular cut that I own, which is the extended cut. It's 2.5 hours long. I'm like, fuck. You know, I've seen this movie before, and I love this movie, but I was like, man, I don't remember it being this long. And I later learned that, you know, I do own the extended cut. But to me, once I watched this, first of all, it flies by. It just like that. I was like, once we were getting to the closing moments, because I've seen this movie before, but once we're getting to the closing moments of the film, I'm like, holy fuck, it's been 2.5 hours. But no, man, the runtime, I believe that the extended cut is the way to watch Dawn of the Dead, because it lets you spend so much time with these characters. And I feel like certain people would say, oh, they're shallow characters. And I guess that can be argued, but to me, when you spend so much time with these characters and you see them surviving, because that's at the core, this is a survivalist tale. It really is. And when you see these characters once you see them coexisting, and because they do not like each other at first, and once they really start to get along and they start to progress and they build a life for themselves, basically, you start to root for them. So then inevitably, when things go wrong, and this isn't a spoiler, it's a fucking horror movie, come on. When some of them die, it weighs on you a little bit, man, and it sucks. It sucks to see some of these characters die, because you root for them throughout the entire movie. Yeah, no, I don't know A, B, and C about them, but in a movie like this, that is fucking packed with action, you tend to gloss over it a little bit, and that's fine. That's another thing about this. That's probably the last spoiler-free thing I can really say about it. The amount of zombie shit in this movie is insane. And I love it, man. I absolutely adore this for being so action-packed. I would wager, and I think a lot of people would. All respect to Night of the Living Dead. It is a trendsetter. It is the granddaddy of them all. No question in my mind about it. But I do think Dawn of the Dead is more entertaining in certain aspects. Again, that's like me comparing chocolate cake to chocolate ice cream. They're both incredible. Just that's all. Drinkskis. Water. But anyways, but yeah, man, that'll basically wrap it up for the spoiler-free section of the review. I want to just dive right into this and get into some spoilers. So without further ado, let's go ahead and hop into the spoiler section and let's spoil the shit out of this motherfucker. Alright, spoiler time. Your ass has been warned. Now, just hop right into it here. Much like Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead wastes zero time, and we get straight into the shit. We first go into a newsroom where people are losing their fucking minds, much like in the real world when the world is faced with some big epidemic. Everybody has an opinion, and everybody can't see eye to eye. People are arguing and fighting, and that is very well contained. That aspect of it is very well contained to this scene, to these couple of scenes here. And we get introduced to Francine and Steven, and they they end up going to they end up booking it, man, because Steven's like, yo, I got a chopper, and they're romantically involved, so he just comes up to her and whispers and is like, hey, we got to get the fuck out of here. We aren't gonna do good here at all. So they end up booking it, and then we get a little SWAT raid of an apartment building, which, again, much like the newsroom, does a very good job of conveying the situation very quickly. They're trying to basically get anyone who's holding up in there out, and they're trying to exterminate any dead that are being housed in this building. As we see in a basement, people are... Ooh, damn. Excuse me. As we see in the basement, people are not too keen on basically killing their loved ones, dead or undead or whatever. And we see that they're literally housing these people in this little shack in a basement, and it's like, oh god, they're eating, like, I guess the idea is they're eating other dead people or some shit, but they're gnawing down on someone. But man, we get introduced to our other two characters, Roger and Peter, who are two members of the SWAT team that are raiding this building. And then we meet this one dickhead who's not around for very long, but he's basically fucks up the whole situation with that raid, because he's this racist, just piece of shit, fat idiot, and he's compromising the mission. Shit gets fucked up. Lots of really good zombie stuff here. We get one guy's, he's not even a zombie, he's just, he busts in and explodes this guy's head with a gun. That's a very weird way to say he blows his head off, but he blows his fucking head off. Great work from Tom Savini as usual. So then the SWAT guys, Peter and Roger, are like, yeah, fuck this. He ends up getting shot down by one of the other SWAT members. One guy ends up coming very close to dying and ends up just blowing his head off anyways because he can't handle it. There's a lot of very grim shit going on here. Again, the stuff with people housing their family members, even though they're zombies. We get one lady who just will not totally accept that her husband is a zombie, so she tries to hug him, and of course you know how that ends up. And yeah, man, just very grim shit. These two scenes before we get to the core of the story do a really, really good job of conveying what happens here. And then the newsroom people and the SWAT team members end up uniting to survive, and they end up booking it. And they eventually land at a mall. Now, there's some scenes before that, and we'll get into those scenes, but they eventually land at a mall, and This movie is too long for me to do kind of a loose plot synopsis like I'm prone to doing on some reviews, even though I don't try to do that, but it just kind of happens. The nature of this film, it is very long, and like I said before, that's kind of why I like the fact that it's so long, because you spend so much time with these characters, and the bulk of that is them basically hunkering down at this mall. They set up shop there for the meantime. They're thinking, okay, someone's gonna help. They get a radio and just the stuff that they need, food and stuff. And they're basically just trying to hunker down and wait for help. And eventually, as we spend more time with these characters, they're like, okay, help is not coming. Basically, Peter's like, yo, we gotta set up shop here right now, because there is no way that that anyone's coming. So they do, and I think it's just unanimously agreed upon. So they start just hunkering down, and they start trying to make some sort of life for themselves, at least for the immediate future. And that's what the bulk of this movie is. It is a survivalist film. It really is. It's them surviving and thriving in the environment that they're in. Great music here by Goblin, too. It can be kind of jarring at first, because you get these scenes of like people about to die or almost dying, or they're holding a door shut to keep zombies from coming in, and you just hear this almost upbeat music. And when I say that, it sounds bad, but just something about it fits this movie. I've heard people bitch about the music in this, which I understand. But Goblin's awesome. They've done music for plenty of horror films. Most notably to me is Tenebrae. That was not me trying to do an Italian accent, I promise you. But I would not attempt that. But anyways, Tenebrae is another really cool Goblin soundtrack movie. But anyways, a lot of this film is just them hunkering down. There's, again, more scenes of them getting supplies. Probably one of the best sequences in this is the truck scenes. They want to block off all the entrances, basically so no more zombies can come in, or basically so they can kind of trickle through and not so much horde through. But the intention is for them to just not be able to come in at all, which is a good idea. So they take these big-ass semi-trucks, and they're just... It's so well done. You got Steven up in the chopper trying to just be on the lookout and make sure that like a horde of zombies isn't going to come in and kill him or anything like that. And yeah, man, it's such a well done sequence, and it almost works out, but fucking Roger, man, he gets too damn cocky, and he ends up getting bitten like twice, and he fucking... the nature of the infection in this movie is one of the more brutal ones I've seen. It is slow. Like, it takes about 3 days for him to be completely zombified, and you're just like, fuck, man. It's sad, dude. It's really, really sad. You get him just completely deteriorating. And while that is happening... we get some levity, and we get a lot of, you could call them basically comedic scenes of them just enjoying the little things, much like Zombieland. There's one scene where they go to a bank and they take like fucking thousands upon thousands of dollars, and Peter's like, hey, you never know, and so they just take it. They're playing an arcade, Francine's putting makeup on. They're just having fun. They're making the most of this incredibly shitty situation. Before that, it's cool. There's a scene where they wipe out all the zombies that are in that place. They just clean shop, man. They fucking kill all of them. And it's a really cool sequence of just getting to see zombies get their heads blown off, and it's cool shit, man. It's definitely one of the more enjoyed scenes of this movie. And yeah, and then they just have a ball, dude. But during the whole time, you're dreading, because you know what's gonna happen. The Roger, it happened. It's Zombies 101, man. You know what's gonna happen to him. And sure enough, man, he's bedridden. He's losing his mind. And he's actually, I forgot to mention one other little thing that happened during them, like, basically trying to clean house, is one of the zombies sticks their thumb right in one of his bandages and subsequently into his wound, and you just see that blood just, and you're like, oh god. And of course he is in extreme pain from that, as if he wasn't already. So yeah, man, he's resting up from that recent fucking wound, and or reopened wound. And yeah, man, he's in extreme pain just all over his body, and he's dying, dude. And it's really sad. And then Peter's hanging out with him, and Roger's sleeping, and so he puts the cover over his head, and then he just starts slowly moving around, and Peter knows what's happening, and so he points the gun at him, and he waits for him. As painful as it is, man, he waits for him to just lower that cover, and then yeah, he's zombified, man. He's fucked. So it's really sad too, dude, because you just get this shot of Steven and Francine just chilling in the living room that they've constructed, and you just hear it, man. He blows them away, dude. It's sad as shit, but that's the nature of it. And that's the thing, man. People can say, like, oh, these characters are undeveloped and yada, 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 which you could argue that. But you spend so much time with these people to where you get invested in their survival. And then when this happens, you're like, fuck. And later on, when Steven dies, which we'll get into, it's like, god damn. Because it's revealed in this movie that Francine is pregnant. She is with child, and so it's a cool little arc for her. It's a drastic improvement for female involvement from Night of the Living Dead, where she's basically just useless in that movie, which I've stated my opinions on that. I think it's a narrative thing. I don't think it was a oh fuck women thing on George Romero's part. But that being said, her being like, I don't give a shit if I'm pregnant, I want to help. And she gets really good with a gun, as Steven does as well. And, she kicks ass, man. She does what she can with the situation she's in. But yeah, so they spend months, excuse me, little sipskies here. They spend fucking months in this deal, and they're getting through it, man. Roger's dead. And again, you get to see them in recreation time and downtime while they're not killing zombies, which is realistic, man. Some zombie films is just, zombie 24/7, zombie. And that's not necessarily the case, man. There are moments where nothing's happening and you're just bored. And Peter's on the roof playing tennis with himself, and he does this nice little thing for the Steven and Francine where he pours him a glass of champagne and has this nice little dinner set up for him. And it's cool, man. And I have a feeling in the theatrical cut, both the European and American cuts, I feel like a lot of that stuff probably got cut out. Like a lot of the downtime stuff, whether it be from before where Roger was alive, getting wheeled around, and then this stuff. Throat's drying up. But yeah, man. So a lot of that stuff probably got cut out, I'd imagine. And that stuff to me is just as strong as all the zombie stuff. Obviously, the zombie stuff is more like, hell yeah, but you get invested in these characters, man. And that's one of the biggest reasons why I love this movie. Obviously, it's bloody and gory as shit too, which I also enjoy. But yeah, man. So then eventually we get introduced to the Savini Bike Gang, which that's not their name, but Tom Savini is playing a character. And I think I searched it up on IMDb. And his character is literally just biker gang leader or something like that. And it's like, I love Tom Savini, man. And what a good actor, too. He gets props for his special effects, which he did do the special effects for this one. But he's a damn good actor, man. In this, From Dusk Till Dawn, just anything he's in, I'm always thoroughly impressed. And when I watched the Tom Savini documentary, it's like this dude has a legitimate love for theater and like acting and the craft of acting. And it's like, dude, hell yeah, man. Anytime I get to see people enjoying and pursuing their dreams, no matter who it is, hell yeah. Pursue your fucking dreams, people. Anyways, enough with the corny shit. So yeah, man, he's he's the leader of this like completely cartoony, not completely, but cartoony, just delinquent biker gang. And they're like, they know people are in there. They try to negotiate. I'm sure they would have just killed them anyways, but they're like, we don't like people who don't share. And so they break in and they're fucking things up. And when they break in, obviously zombies also pour into the mall as well. So they just undo all the work that they did to set up this home for themselves. And yeah, man, and they're like pieing zombies in the face. Like, these guys are having fun. Like, this is fun for them. I'm like, okay, dude, whatever you say. But yeah, man, and eventually Peter and Steven start to defend their turf, and they're shooting at them, and they're shooting at them, and zombies are running around, and it's just pure fucking chaos for this last act. And eventually they hatch a plan to try and get rid of them. A little elevator fiasco happens with Mr. Steven, and he gets fucking chomped down, dude. He doesn't get ripped apart or anything like that, but he gets chomped way more than fucking Roger did. And he gets bitten on the neck, he gets bitten on the leg, I think, the fucking ankle, and I think at the hand at one point. He gets at least like 4 or 5 bites on him or something, I can't remember. But yeah, dude, and I think that has to do with how quickly you turn. Because he shoots all the zombies, he breaks away, but he's fucked, and he knows he's fucked. He knows he's fucked. And yeah, dude, that elevator opens up, and he's zombified, man. And one of the coolest zombies ever. Because he's still holding that gun, but obviously he's not conscious. I mean, Steven is dead. Steven's dead. So you get this zombie, just green. He looks different from the rest of them. Because the rest of these zombies, and I'll kind of side note that, people give this movie shit for how the zombies look in it. And to me, I'm totally supportive of the completely decayed, just horrifying looking, rotted out zombies. Like, nothing wrong with that, man. All good in my book. But there's something to be said about zombies that still look like us, but they're not us. To me, I think there's something horrifying in and of itself of that, I don't think the zombie makeup in this deserves any hate. I mean, yeah, they're blue, essentially. Not like blue, but they're like, you can tell. I mean, they're gray and blue, and Steven Zombie's green, but yeah, man, it makes it all the more painful when eventually he leads them to their hideout. Because that's another cool thing about this. These zombies still have memories of when they were alive. So when they do turn, I mean, that's why a lot of the zombies are at the mall. Because when they were alive, that was an important place, and they loved going to the mall. And I know there's supposed to be some social commentary about consumerism, and everyone's just zombies, and that's all well and good, but I like them all. Go fuck yourself. But anyways, I guess I am a zombie in that case. But nonetheless, I think it's really cool that they work off of memory. And in Steven's case, he lumbers over to, which amazing physical acting from David Emge. Does an amazing job. Like, he walks on his ankle all weird, and he's one of the best zombie performances ever for what little time he does have as a zombie. Really cool shit. But yeah, man, they bust through that wall, and fucking Peter just looks at him and he's like, fuck, Francine watches it happen. She watches the father of her child as a zombie get his head blown the fuck off. I mean, his head doesn't explode or anything like that, but you get that amazing blood splatter effect which again, all props to Tom Savini and his crew and all that. But yeah, man, it's sad shit, dude. Like I said, you spend so much time with them, and then when they get picked off, you feel something. It's cool, because God forbid we don't have investing characters in horror movies, right? Fucking love it. But anyway, so then we get the weird ending of this. This is something that kind of stuck out to me. I mean, I can see why it happened, and you'll find out what I'm talking about here in a second. I understand, but at the same time, if you're thinking logically, I wouldn't have done this. So basically, which I know I'm totally being a hypocrite, and I'm totally doing the thing where you're like, well, I would have done this. Motherfucker, you don't know what you would have done. So there you go. See, even I'm guilty of it sometimes. But Peter, and once that happens, zombies start pouring in because, Steven led them to their hideout. So they're like, okay, this place is basically boned now. There's way too many zombies in here for two of us to take out. You're pregnant, and now at this point, they've been in there for months, so she is super pregnant. And they're like, yeah, this place is fucked. And keep in mind, when I say all of this, not all of that is just explained. Which, again, I love when movies make you think. Because people are like, why are they leaving? Well, it should be obvious why they're leaving. There's 2 of them instead of 4. One of them is extremely pregnant. It's not going to happen. We got to go. So she leaves, but then Peter elects to stay for a second. And he locks himself in a room, and she climbs up out of there. And she, at one point during all this downtime, learned how to fly the chopper from Steven. So she's just up there. And he's in this room, and he's like, he locks himself away from the zombies. And he's about to blow his head off. I'm like, dude, why don't you just leave? You have a clear out. She goes up, you go up, you get in the chopper, and you fucking split. And I guess the only real explanation I could possibly have for that is, he spent so much time trying to make this place livable, and then it just all goes to shit within like 30 minutes. I guess pride kind of fucks with you, and you're like, man, I'm not just gonna keep going from spot to spot just for them to all be fucked up. Like, I'm not gonna do it. So I guess I can understand it from that point of view, but it's still, especially if you're just watching this, you're like, why wouldn't you just go? Which I imagine, like I said, this movie does not spoon feed you shit. You do have to think, which I do think during movies. So I can understand it, but that I can see why people at first would be like, what the fuck? And why it would be a little distracting. I'm not going to completely call it a flaw, but it's something that sticks out as like weird to me. But eventually he decides not to blow his head off, and when the zombies break in, he just shoots a couple of them and just starts side tackling or pouncing all of them. Shout out to Monty Brown. See if brownie points if anyone gets that reference. But he starts pouncing all these zombies to the side, and he climbs up. And they fucking book it, man. And that's it. It's a little bit of an abrupt ending, but, I would consider it to be an okay ending. It's a little jarring with the whole Peter situation, and then all of a sudden he's like, you know what? I don't want to die. And then he just runs and they take off and they go. Okay. I think, and I understand too why they had that happen, because you're just like, you don't want this guy to die, and there's like, it's very suspenseful. Like, you're like, don't blow your head off. No, you're so close. Just leave. I can see why they do it, but it is a little weird. That's like, not a minor nitpick. It's a nitpick. It's a weird thing, but anyways, I don't think it takes away from the movie. I think that this film is fucking awesome. Obviously, 100%. Go out of your way to watch this any way you can. Don't pirate it. Don't be that fucking guy. If anyone has ever wanted to know my stance on that, yeah, don't pirate movies, dude. Support filmmakers. Come on, dude. Come on, man. But anyways, And yeah, that'll do it for the review portion. I'm very much so in danger of rambling, and I don't want to do that. So we're just gonna go ahead and get into the blood, the guts, and the fucking gory bits. Let's get into our kill of the film. Stick around. With Tom Savini in charge of all makeup and special effects and all of that shit, you know that Dawn of the Dead is going to be very bloody, very gory, and very great. Come on now, man. People bitch sometimes. It's not super often, but people do complain about the blood in this, which I understand. He didn't have that blood formula yet that he's known for, which we get in Day of the Dead. It's not quite perfected here. Does look a little weird, but man, when you get so many awesome fucking kills, both zombie and non, can you really complain that much? I mean, this movie was made in 1978. I'm not fucking bitching, dude. The kills in this are fucking great, man. We get some of the best zombie deaths of all time in this movie. Just bar none. Some honorable mentions here. First of all, the head explosion in the apartment is just, it's so out of nowhere. Like, this fat racist idiot just busts down this door, just starts gunning people down, man. And the first dude he sees, he just takes that fucking shotgun, and this dude's head, literally, I'm not joking or exaggerating, his head blows up. Also, Steven's death is really good. I couldn't help myself. I talked about it in the review portion. Just seeing his head get, just getting shot in the head, and just all of his brains just all over the wall. Incredible stuff. Also, all the bites in this movie are very, very good and cringy in a good way. Like, you're like, oh, fuck. Just like anytime like a zombie takes a bite out of someone's neck, you just see it, and it's like, oh, shit. The bikers that get swarmed by the zombies, and that's where you get those subsequent trademark Romero shots of zombies just chowing down, dude. And it's no different here, man. They're just gnawing on people's flesh and legs and guts and bleh. Good shit, man. But anyways, and Tom Savini in this as the gang leader has some of the best standout kills. None of them are kill of the film. I will get into that here in a second. But him on that motorcycle, on like this little sidecar thing, just sees a zombie, and he has that machete with him, and just whoop, and his zombie's head just flies off. Looks incredible. Looks amazing. We get him sinking his machete into a zombie's head, which is cool. Really good stuff from him. He gets two of the best kills of the movie, which I feel like, he may have slid that in there for himself just a little bit. But, he's the master of gore, the king of gore, so I can't complain, and I ain't blaming him, man. If I was in that position, I'd give myself some really fucking badass kills too, so I can't complain. All of that stuff is well and good. It's tremendous and it's incredible. But to me, kill of the film, without question, goes to the chopper blade kill. Zombie is lumbering. This is on the way to the mall. They're not there quite yet. They're at a pit stop, basically getting gas and yada, yada, yada. But this zombie is lumbering towards Roger, and there's some boxes in his way. And so this rather tall zombie stands up on the boxes while this helicopter blade is just, doing what helicopter blades do. And when he stands up, like, the top of his head just gets and the blood just starts pouring out of this poor fucker's head, and he just falls over. A very indirect kill, but so memorable, so incredible. And that's going to be my kill of the film, guys. 100%, absolutely. Thank you for joining me on this. Next time on Days of Darkness, we're gonna do a unique one that I don't think a whole hell of a lot of people have seen. which I hope is good news for the views. Really hoping so, but you know, if anything, I'll get the word out there about this movie because it needs to be talked about more. We're going to be talking about Bone Tomahawk. Oh man, I'm excited to watch this one again, but I'm also hesitant. And for anyone who's seen it, you know what I mean. I'm not going to talk about it anymore because we'll get into that next time. Guys, thank you so much for joining me as always. Take care of each other. Keep watching horror. And you guys have a good rest of your day. All right. Peace.